Back to 9/11 itself. Was your son there for a long time? How did you find out he was okay? Or
I got a call from the hospital at 8 o'clock at night. And I was glued to the TV set and I couldn't move until
you were in New York?
Yes, I live about 80 miles north of New York City. And I was waiting to find out where he was. And one of his coworkers got back to me that he was in the hospital, but he's okay. He'll be okay. He'll be out tomorrow. I said, okay, and I was relieved. Then I knew I could be released to do what I had to do.
But he was hurt somehow?
Yes, he got knocked around a little bit. He wound up banging up into the American Express building. He was triaging people, and he carried this lady through, and he was going to throw her in the water and swim to Jersey City. But Jersey City, I believe he said a Jersey City police boat was there, and they put her on the boat, and he went back, and then the second collapse. It was quite a mess. He doesn't really talk too much about it with me, and I don't ask him. And now he's on the fire department, and he's since then he's been, after that he wound up going to Afghanistan, and then he got called back in his Marine unit, and he wound up going to Iraq, and that was another a year of my heart being in my throat. I had been in combat in Vietnam, so I knew what he was going to go through, and my whole concern was about my wife and my daughters. And I couldn't tell them exactly what is transpiring. Oh, he's all right, he's okay. He's all right, he's okay. But as a father, in the back of your mind, again, I do like I did 9/11. I saw the buildings come down, the alarm assignments. It was all going through my head, who was going to be where they were going to go. Same thing with the military. My son was in the Marines. Okay, the unit was going to be deployed. They're going to be out there. They're going to be doing this. And I was going through the daily routine of, being in that area combat. And I just, and I prayed a lot. I'm really into that, Susie. I pray a lot. There's nothing else you could do but pray, so I do. And then everything worked out okay. Now my son's he's back in the fire department, back in Ladder 11, my old company. And they're putting fires out and they're saving people.
So I guess whenever somebody mentions 9/11, you have, Pete there, right?
Oh,
With you every
he's there all the time. I have him, he never lets. The Better Angels program that we were sponsoring came out with these little rubber bands. I have the metal bands also. This is the Vietnam guy I was with. I had a couple operations. They made me take them off, the metal ones. And now I have rubber ones, so I don't have to take it off. So Pete's always with me, yeah. So, but he's there. Every day in the morning I wake up, it doesn't go away. I walk into my living room, his picture's there, the wall, it's, dealing with other firefighters.
So do your family or his family have, like pictures?
Oh yeah, we still have, yes, yeah. Now, to be fair to everybody in the family, my sister-in-law was young, 30 years old, and I said to her in the beginning, I'll support you anything you have to do to bring those children up, and we have. Nobody expected her to sit with a black dress for the rest of her life, So hopefully she finds someone and becomes happy again, and that's all I could ever hope for, And the children were brought up right, and she's doing a very good job of it.
So your lives obviously have just completely changed.
Oh, changed. Something like that. The trauma and the violent trauma that we went through. It was the impact was enormous. Oh, it took 2 or 3 years to calm down the emotions and the feelings. And then you think about the people that did this. Why did they do it? And because they don't like the way we live and we're prosperous. And I spoke and I did some research into it. They don't like the way we treat women in this country. We let them drive, isn't it? Oh wow, So I just don't understand that.
Because when I asked you about Bin Laden a month or so ago,
yeah.
Did you get some calls from?
I had about several calls that morning from different people. We got him. Everybody was all ecstatic. I was ecstatic. I trust the American military. I was a part of it for 30 years, active and reserve. And so I knew we were eventually going to get him somewhere. and the rest of the people that did this, and eventually. But I know we could win little battles, but the war is going to go on forever and ever as long as these people have that way of life that they want to change us. You know, the religious fanatics. You know, and that's why this country was made. Live and let live. I mean, different people came from different parts. We went through our times and our, you know, and our bad parts in this country, but we still, you know, I could sit here and talk to you now, and there's no police around us putting in a jail or anything, or you don't have to wear a veil. Yeah. You know, so.
So, had you talked to Pete in the days before?
Actually, 3 days before I did speak to him. He was telling me about his house. He had taken the walls out and they were going to re-insulate, and it was ripped up. And he asked me about some people that I knew, about asking him about when he was going to get transferred to Rescue 4 permanently.
Right.
And I said, I'll look into it for you. And we discussed that. We discussed our father, a couple issues that our dad had, physical issues. And we were going to get together in a little while, you know, and then that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was unaware of him coming to work that day until I found out that next day.
You thought he was still on vacation?
I was still on, thought he was still on vacation.
So when did you hear that he was actually down there? You went down, or?
Well, no, I called the company up, and the person that answered the phone was from one of the engine companies that was in the firehouse, and he says, no, he came in from work, because I figured he would come down when he heard about it, would be there and then go down. But in the back of my head, I thought, knowing Pete, no, he would be there.
Right.
And then they told me, no, he was on a mutual, and I said, okay, thank you. And then when I got down to the scene, I met one of the men in his company, and they said, the whole company is here. There's, I don't know how many guys were, like 11 or 12.
Many from his company make it, or?
No, nobody made it.
How many did that involve?
I think, well, the 6 that rode that day, but then they were like 4 more other fellas that were there.
Right.
Most of the rescue companies, because of the change of tour, guys stayed and rode.
Right.
And that's the way it is in the fire department. There are times, I can remember fighting fires at 10 minutes or 20 minutes to 9, and the fire truck could only hold 6. And back in those days, we were allowed to hop off the back of the rig and hang off the side of it.
Right.
There could be 8 or 10, 12 guys on the rig. You know, get there, and everybody would duplicate what everybody's doing.
Right.
Get the fire out faster.
Yeah.
You know, it was good to know, reassuring that there were extra guys there if you got into trouble. So, because
The ceremonies they're planning for 9/11, I understand it's going to be kind of not just on the 11th, but a couple days before.
Yeah, they have a couple things going on, the 9th, 10th, and the 11th, and the 12th. The main one down at the World Trade Center, we'll support it. A lot of the families do not like how they set it up, meaning that, like, my brother's name is just Peter Brennan. It's not Firefighter Peter Brennan. Wasn't a deputy assistant fire commissioner. You know, they didn't put any of that stuff down there, and they've taken out what happened that day. They're celebrating the lives of the individuals that were dead, but they didn't say why it happened. You know, they don't want to talk about the terror and the terrorism that perpetrated this on us.
So I know, like you said, the controversy, but so if I come and I don't know who Peter, I wouldn't even know he was a firefighter?
No, you wouldn't know he was a firefighter. Now, if you go to Engine Company 10 and Ladder 10, and on the wall, you'll see his name.
Right.
There's a big bronze mural that's put there. Also, in the fire department, we lost so many guys in different battalions. Every year I go to my 4th battalion, and Ladder 11 was my company, and we lost the 6 firefighters in Ladder 11. And we have a memorial mass at the local church. Everybody's invited in the battalion. And then the battalion chief was the 4th battalion. We also lost a chief from the 4th battalion. But each individual company, and they have their own little thing on 9/11. And then there's some of the families go down to the World Trade Center, you know, because that's the spot. But my particular family, we decided we're going to stay with in our element, stay with our firefighters, and do what firefighters do, grieve with firefighters, and they do grieve.
So, I mean, I know there's an expected onslaught of people who want to be there. What would you say to them? Leave us alone, or just we appreciate?
Well, no, most of the guys respect that. There's a reason why those people are there. We understand they're hurting also. They're feeling, and if they have respect enough to come to visit our memorial service, they're more than welcome. People don't realize in this country, a lot of people don't realize that this crime was perpetrated not just on the fire department or New York. This entire country was attacked. Washington, D.C., if they would have got our president, Shanksville, the guys in that plane, the people that, just went to work every day. Everybody that morning went to work as Americans, or as almost Americans, people who had papers in to become Americans, just to survive for the day and fend for their family, and and they did what Americans do. And that day, a lot of them were killed doing what an Americans do. So those people that were killed are just as patriotic as the firefighters and the policemen that were killed, and the rescue workers, the first responders. The United States was attacked, and we, as an American citizen, it's personal. And to a lot of these people that come to our memorial services, it's personal. They have that feeling. This wall we have up here with the 343, the firefighters, that was elegantly and beautifully done. It was hand-painted pictures on little pieces of burnt wood. There's people that come up here that have nothing, they know nothing of the fire service, and walk up and take a step, look at it, turn around, I can see the tears coming out of their eyes. Because everybody in life that's old enough to know have been to a funeral, have lost a loved one. It's just a process that happens every day. We lose people. And the feeling and the emotion comes back of that day when your father died, or your mother died, or your sister, your aunt died. And it just overwhelms you. And then when you look at the wall, you see these people died, but it was tragically. It was an attack. It was, and holy mackerel, look at the face of that guy. Or look at it, in other cases, down at the World Trade Center, there were posters all over the place of missing people. The beautiful people, there's Sally Brown, she's missing. Has anybody seen Sally? Has anybody seen Susie? Has anybody seen Mark? And there's these happy, beautiful, there's wedding pictures that were on that wall of them together. Has anybody seen my husband Mark? It's rough. So it wasn't perpetrated on the fire department. And I understand that, and most of the firemen do. They attacked our country, and they've responded. So there's another big, heavy bond between the fire department and the military. And we support the Wounded Warriors programs all over the United States. You see these guys coming back maimed, and they giving the supreme sacrifice, like those people on the wall and those people that died on that building. They died honoring their country. They just went to work to be Americans.
So are you glad this law just was enacted to follow the health of people that were there?
Yes. In the beginning, I was a little leery of the law because it was very vague. They've kind of gotten it down to where it's concise and they know what to do. I'm confident with Dr. Kerry Kelly from FDNY and Dr. Dave Passon from FDNY. They're taking care of our people. We have a program, medical monitoring program, that every year I get checked. And if I have any problems, I could go into any one of our satellite offices and they'll get me to the right place. Prescriptions, doctors. We're starting to lose guys now. The last couple of years, I've lost 4 friends from esophageal cancer.
And one recently.
Yeah, and one just last week. So there's a problem. As I was here at Firehouse, I sat in a couple seminars and lectures about the hazardous materials that were in the air that day. And it's kind of scary. And the normal people in life don't realize what everybody went through, not just the firefighters, that whole area downtown Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens, where the smoke drifted across and all that dust drifted across.
There'll be a lot of monitoring, a lot of losses
Oh, years to come. It's starting to get worse now. They set a 10-year mark, and we're at the 10-year mark, and it's starting to elevate a little bit, and we're concerned. I get monitored all the time. I mean, it's like every 4 months of the toxicity that I had in my body.
I understand there was a lot of emotion, a lot of guys just kind of, a lot of attrition.
Yes, the department's about 70% turnover now, 10 years later. And the younger guys coming on, they're taught in our Proby school the lineage of the fire department of the city of New York and the sacrifice that has been made. And they're stepping up to the task. Now the men and women of the fire department, they aren't told that. They come in with it, and then it's polished while they're there.
Right.
There's a lot of them is the reason why they became firefighters because of 9/11. Some of them have come out of the Army, Navy, Air Corps, and Marine, and now become firefighters. Right. They want to carry on. So we have a bunch of really dedicated. When I came on, to me it was a vocation, and it's still that way today. It's not just a job; it's a vocation. Because once you get in there, you have to run into a building that's on fire or hazardous in there to get people out or extinguish it. That's not normal. Normal people are running out to get away from it. You're running in. So you have to be dedicated, and most of the people, especially these young kids today, they are dedicated. They're the same.
It took a hard toll because of the brotherhood and the family traditions of the fire department itself.
Well, that's where it was more emotional. Like I said, 151 people on that wall, I knew it at the 343. Even the guys I didn't know, I mean, we have a saying in the fires, you jump on a hand grenade for me, We work as a team, and they died as a team. They work as a team because everybody's always watching out for everybody else. And that's the way firemen do. And it's been like that for hundreds of years, as long as there's been fire